Hi, Junior with today's thought. I wonder if you've noticed something that I've noticed, which is that you see these attempts to go after Donald Trump, to hurt Donald Trump, and very often the opposite, it boomerangs and it hurts the person trying to hurt Trump. The obvious example is that they're trying to drive him out of the race and damage him and drive his poll numbers down, and that's not happening. It seems to be just the opposite, that the more they go after him, the better he does in the polls. I just checked recently the last 9 or 10 polls, a Real Clear Politics average, and he's leading Biden in almost every poll. I think only 2 polls where Biden is ahead. So that's a boomerang. You have Fani Willis in Georgia, the Fulton County District Attorney, this ridiculous RICO case that Trump conspired to overthrow the election, and she was put on trial trying to get. The judge is deciding now, so we don't know. I don't know as I'm recording this the day before you're seeing it what he's going to decide, but it is possible that she'll be taken off the case. But in any case, that she's embarrassed herself before the whole country with her testimony in court. It was videotaped. I saw it, and she really disgraced herself. But I don't want to go off on that track. I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about today is New York City. This absurd, egregious verdict, this fraud trial verdict. I don't want to go into the detail of the actual trial, but just that it is really hurting New York. He has to pay. He's been fined $350 million, which with interest is going to be $450 million, which he has to pay now, even though he's appealing the case, which is not how it's supposed to work. If he's appealing the case, then he doesn't pay the judgment until all the appeals go through, which could go all the way up to the Supreme Court. But that's another detail. I don't want to get off on a digress here, but what's happening is that as a result of that verdict, the real estate developers are now, some who had been, they don't want to invest in New York anymore. At least there's a couple so far. One of them was already actively, you can hear from in a moment, is about to, I'll quote him and you'll see a video, was just about to invest in New York, and he changed his mind as a result of this verdict. He said, stop everything, I'm not investing in New York. You have the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul. She went on TV, she made a public statement to say, don't stop investing. You don't have anything to worry about. It's not going to happen to you, which is just saying, she's virtually coming out and saying, because you're not Donald Trump. This was a targeting of Donald Trump. If you're not Donald Trump, you don't have to worry about it. She probably, I don't remember the statement exactly, but I think she said that you wouldn't do what Trump did, so you don't have to worry. But the problem is every developer does what Trump did. He did nothing wrong. I've mentioned in the past, I happen to be a licensed New York State real estate broker specializing in commercial real estate, semi-retired. I live in Tennessee now, but I lived in New York City, for Manhattan, for a little over 40 years, and the last 20 years was as a real estate broker. So I know what I'm talking about. If you want, in case you don't know, every developer operates on credit. They need a loan, and to collateralize the loan, they'll pledge an existing property. So they'll go to a bank and they'll say, okay, I want a $200 million loan. I'm putting up this property and it's worth $400 million. And the bank will say, okay, that's good. And then they always do, these are sophisticated people, banks, Deutsche Bank, and they do their own due diligence. In fact, when I got the mortgage on my little house, the bank did its own due diligence. They don't just take your word for it. And the Trump's application says right in there that there's a disclaimer that don't take my word for it. You have to do your own due diligence. If you buy any building in New York, there's a due diligence period. You have 30 to 90 days or something, depending on the property. You have a certain amount of time to do your due diligence. So you'll make an offer for a building. The offer would be accepted, and then you have, before you sign a contract and actually buy the building, you have a due diligence period where you can bring in your own appraisers, you can have engineers examine the building, go through the whole 9 yards to make sure that the building is what the seller is representing. And that's what, so Deutsche Bank, they brought in their own people, and so you say my building is worth, I want to borrow 200 million, and this building I'm putting up is worth 400 million. The bank comes in and says, well, we did our own due diligence. We think it's worth only 300 billion, so we're only going to lend you 150 million. And then it's up to the loan applicant, the developer, to accept that or try to get a mortgage loan somewhere else, or who would agree on the value of the developer's value of the building, whatever. The point is, it's a simple bargaining procedure, and it's a private matter between the borrower or potential borrower and the lender, and the lender always puts their own value. They just say, this is what I think it's worth. This is what I'm willing to lend you. And that's what happened with Trump. He put a certain value on whatever property or properties he was putting up as collateral for the loan, and the bank disagreed on the amount, and they would only lend a lesser amount, which Trump accepted. The loan was paid back with interest. Deutsche Bank, the bank in question, testified that they made money. They're eager to do business with Trump anymore, again, which they can't do for 3 years because of this decision. They cannot borrow. Trump cannot borrow from any bank that is chartered, that has a charter in New York. It's just ridiculous. So the point is, every developer does this. You would have to prosecute every developer, and not just in New York, every developer probably in the world. So who in his right mind, what developer in his right mind is going to invest, unless they really, really, really love New York, or they're diehard Democrats and don't think anything will happen to them because they are diehard Democrats. So anyways, I'm going to let you hear from a couple of these developers now. Now, the first one, I'm going to give you a couple of quotes, and then I'm going to I'll let you hear from him on video yourself. So the first one, his name is Grant Cardone. He's a large multi-billionaire, I believe, developer. Here's the headline: Major investors pull business from New York City following Trump verdict. And here I'll put up a quote. This is from Grant Cardone. Here's the article. I'm quoting from the article, excuse me. Prominent investors have signaled their intent to halt their business in New York following the $355 million verdict in former President Donald Trump's civil fraud case. Real estate mogul Grant Cardone announced on Tuesday that his firm, Cardone Capital, would no longer underwrite New York real estate, one day after Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary, and you can hear from him in a moment too, vowed to no longer invest in the state as a result of the verdict. Immediately discontinue all underwriting in New York City real estate, Cardone ordered his firm in a post on X, formerly known as Twitter. You always have to put it in there, formerly known as Twitter. The risk outweighed the opportunities at this time. Recent political, and that's what this was, political decisions, the Trump verdict, recent political decisions will continue to deteriorate price and benefit states that don't have recent Immediately discontinue all underwriting on New York City real estate, Cardone ordered his firm in a post on X. The risks outweigh the opportunities at this time. Recent political decisions will continue to deteriorate price and benefit states that don't have these challenges. Focus on Texas and Florida. And now here he is on video, Cardone, so you can listen, see what else he has to say.
We thought this year was the opportunity to come into Chicago, California, and New York City. I've been waiting for 40 years now to invest in that marketplace. I was completely confident, Steve, this was the year to come. And when that ruling happened, it was like pencils down, don't touch it, don't go there.
That was Cardone. Now you can hear from Kevin O'Leary. He was interviewed on TV. It's back and forth with a liberal talking head who obviously just doesn't get it. And that's the point. The judge doesn't get it. All these people after Trump, they just don't get it. And especially in New York City, the damage. Well, Kathy Hochul understands the potential damage because she went on to TV to say nothing to worry about because this is essentially because you're not Donald Trump, so you don't have to worry about it. And that's not how it works. I'm sorry, Kathy. So, anyways, here's O'Leary.
Wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Excuse me, what fraud? This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building and he says it's worth $400 million and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city, every developer is an entrepreneur. They shine the light on their building and they say it's worth $400. The bank does its own due diligence, as was done in this case, because they're very good at it. The banks are very good, and they say, no, it's worth $300. We're only going to loan you $150 million. That haggling has gone on for decades. That's how it works. And then in this case, even the bank that was supposedly defrauded testified and said, we didn't lose anything. We want to do business with this guy again. We'd like to. But the judge said, no. Let's penalize this developer for $355 million. And if we're going to do that, let's penalize all the developers, all across America. They've all done the same thing. All of them should go to jail, and we should stop building buildings. That's what the message is from New York. Even the governor herself is concerned about what this looks like to investors all around the world. It's not just U.S. domestic. All around the world, people are talking about what happened here. You really think people want to invest money in New York after this? How about we go somewhere else?
I think there are people who would. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to converse with you instead.
You just did.
It's only because I want to have a conversation with Kevin, as opposed to just having you tell me. I respect you because
you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I got to tell you, I'm respectable for a number of reasons, Kevin O'Leary, but being a lawyer is one of those issues. But I'll tell you, when I hear your conversation, and I do want to converse with you about this point, I understand that there are legitimate concerns that were raised during the trial and will continue to be raised about who the quote-unquote, who is actually bringing the suit. It wasn't the banks who were saying that we as consumers or unsophisticated feel this way. But Letitia James, the Attorney General, and I know you want to expand beyond Trump, has suggested, well, it's about making the playing field level for those who are not the major and billionaire investors, but for those who are supposed to put business records out there, want to get a loan. The idea of making sure that they have to have the same true statements included as those who have a lot more money. Is there any weight to that for you?
Well, I asked you who lost money, and I'll make it even clearer. You and I, we're developing a data center together, and I say to you, we can go to New York, where this just happened. It's your money now. You're now an investor, and you're taking risk. You're an entrepreneur with me, right beside me. We're together on the deal. Or I can show you Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia, where the governors actually ran businesses. Let's go there, where this never happened before. They have power. They have permits. They've got legislation that's supportive of entrepreneurship. Why would we go to New York? Why take the risk? My only point is, did we just diminish the great state of New York and the great people of New York? And shouldn't they ask for better management so they don't become a flyover state? Remember, New York has the highest taxes in the country, the worst regulatory environment, and it's incredibly mismanaged. And I'm pointing out now, on top of that, you get this insanity. A victimless crime, and forget about Trump. It's not about Trump. I don't care about Trump in this. I care about America, and I care about entrepreneurship, and I care about democracy and the fairness. The judicial system is now being criticized. People are asking themselves, the bar of New York, is this judge rational to charge $355 million in a case where no one lost any money? Is that good for the people of New York? Should the people of New York wake up to this and say, what's happening to us? Why is this becoming so perverse? Why are we the focus of this injustice? And nothing to do with Trump. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm supporting American entrepreneurship. And New York is slowly becoming the #1 loser state in America. I'm sorry, that's what's happening.
There you go. That's the result of this verdict. This is what it's done. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump is going to be president, I'm pretty sure. That's my prediction anyway, which could be wrong, okay. But this is another thing that's just going to boomerang on him, and boomerang on New York City, boomerang on Trump's enemies, and maybe they'll learn a lesson from it. But you know what? I don't think they will. And that's it for today. That's today's thought. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.